Namaskaram everyone, this is Vishwaksen and welcome to Vaka Talks where we talk about mental health and emotional well-being and various kinds of relationships. I'm doing a series with a glossary of various terms that are frequently used in therapy sessions and counseling sessions. And today let's talk about gaslighting. What is gaslighting? Gaslighting basically is manipulating someone into believing that the reality that they have perceived, reality that they have seen and heard is not true. This is usually done to make people doubt themselves, to make people lose their self identity, to make people dependent on their abuser for for their perception, for their reality. A constant When someone is subjected to gaslighting constantly and continuously, they start questioning themselves. They start questioning their own realities, like, okay, is the light on? I see it on. Is it on? Or am I hallucinating? Am I imagining it? Did I lock the door? I remember locking the door and checking it, but the abuser says you didn't lock the door. But we have tried, we have checked again, we have checked repeatedly. But they insist that we didn't lock the door. So we start questioning ourselves. Okay, maybe I forgot. Maybe I'm seeing things that are not true. So over and over and over again, when the abuser tries to discredit our reality, discredit our claims to what we have seen and heard and witnessed, and they put in their own versions into it and saying this is what happened, you're remembering it wrong, you are forgetting things, you are imagining things. So they are very strong in insisting that they are right, that we start questioning ourselves. Because why would someone insist? There was no reason, right? There's no reason for a normal, healthy person to insist something happened when it did not, or when something did not happen when it did. As a normal, regular people, we are not familiar with this tactic where someone tries to discredit someone's reality for their own benefit. So we tend to believe them. We tend to trust them because we tend to believe them because we trust them. And we tend to rely on them more and more and more to tell us what our reality should be. So this state is what the abuser wants us to be. The abuser wants us to rely on them strongly, consistently for everything, so that we are basically another voice that is saying the same story that they are, because they are very they tend to twist and turn the facts very conveniently to fit their narrative, for to fit their agenda. So if we are rational people, we have our own eyes, we have our own ears to hear and see things, we are going to use our mouth to say things that we have seen and heard. If we don't trust our eyes, if we don't trust our ears, and we rely on their eyes and their ears, or rather, we rely on their words, we are actually turning into a puppet into their hands. We are parroting the words that they tell us, We are just repeating their words. Gaslighting is a tactic that is used by almost every narcissist, if not all narcissists, because they need people around them to believe them, because they live in a delusional world and they need everyone around them to lose contact from reality to fit in that delusion and to serve them. There's this old movie, I think it's in the 1940s or 1950s. It's called Gaslight. That is where the gaslighting, the word, originated from. This phenomena is very, very well picturized in in that film. Ingrid Bergman won an Oscar for that film. I strongly recommend each of you to watch the film to understand what gaslighting is. I'm sure I will not be able to explain it better than what the movie has successfully portrayed, coining the term gaslighting. In the film, there's this man who who wants to rob, or who wants to take the jewels of this very uh, successful woman, and he kills her. And he does not know where the jewels are, so he thinks that he has access to her estate, uh, and then he can get the jewels. Her estate goes to her niece, so he love bombs the niece. I'll talk about love bombing later. And gets married to the niece, and he convinces the niece to put all her aunt's stuff in the attic, so that her things does not remind her of her aunt, and uh, she does not get sad. And every day he goes out and he uses uh, the neighbor's building to go into the attic of their house. And when he goes there, he needs light to look at things, so he turns on the light. Back then, the lights were fueled by gas. There used to be this one gas reservoir that used to fuel all the lights in the house. So when more lights are lit, the other lights would dim a little bit because there's a bigger draw on the gas, and each light, it would reduce a little bit. The supply to each light would reduce a little bit. So this woman, Ingrid Bergman, she she notices that the lights dimmed, and when she talks about that, it's like, oh, every day when you go out after you leave the house, the lights dim a little bit. He dismisses her, and he refuses her observation. He dismisses her observation, and he makes her question herself. She also hears some sounds, some footsteps from the attic. He was walking in the attic, so yes, there were footsteps. He does not want to give away that he was there, so he dismisses her claim, and he makes her question herself. He makes her think that she's seeing and hearing things that are not real, and then slowly she starts questioning herself more and more and more. So she's not she does not feel safe to be herself. She does not feel confident going out of the house. She steps out of the house, she looks around and she goes back in because she's not comfortable to go out, because he does not want her to go out. He makes her feel incompetent to be by herself. He has he has sown the seeds of doubt on herself. And later, with the help of the police, later, who was investigating the jewels, later the police inspector also notices the light dimming on the steps. So then she feels validated, because what she sees someone else has seen as well, what she heard someone else has heard as well. That means, to her, her reality is intact. She is able to gain confidence in herself. Then they arrest the guy and then take him behind bars and all that. This movie is a supreme example, or it is a thesis on gaslighting, on a narcissistic relationship, how a narcissist would make people around them, turn people around them into their supply. I strongly recommend you watching the movie. I watched it quite a while ago. I think I touched upon the main story of the film, main plot of the film. If not, I might have not been very accurate on a few details, but more or less that's how the movie goes. And I strongly recommend you watch it. And that is what a gaslighting is. And almost every narcissist uses gaslighting to manipulate people around them. Thank you.